Jessica, thank you. The tri-state home to several interstate bridges, as you know, dating back decades, and a lot of them are connected for Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. And you see these bridges thousands of times because there's so many commuters every day.
Yeah, and lately infrastructure issues on some of the busiest ones have caused lane closures and also some concern.
Brenda Ordonez is in studio with some issues that have been plaguing. We've talked about bridges a lot lately.
Yeah, that's right, Trisha, Megan. We're all familiar with the biggest one. It's the Big Mac Bridge. All southbound lanes are closed after a fire underneath the bridge ignited last month, causing extensive damage. Now, since then, ODOT has made it a push to get commuters coming from places like Dayton, Columbus to take 275 East and 275 West to try to avoid some of that congestion. Now, that just became a little more difficult after the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet announced that the Carol Cropper Memorial Bridge was facing some steel deterioration, and so some southbound lanes needed, or some lanes I should say, needed to be closed, and some weight restrictions were added. I mean, you can already see some of the backup that these drivers are facing in that area. Now again, it comes down as the Big Mac Bridge is still, the southbound lanes are still closed and work is still being done on the bridge.
If you are not downtown bound, go around.
It's the motto Kathleen Fuller with ODOT has been preaching since I-471 southbound lanes on the Big Mac Bridge closed last month, sending over 90,000 commuters to neighboring bridges, causing traffic backups.
That's to be expected.
ODOT has been telling southbound commuters with no stops in the downtown area to avoid the congestion by using 275.
We do want to try and shift more of that traffic going to the eastbound side. To reconnect, especially for those who are traveling on I-75, 71 southbound, to take I-275, take the outer belt going east, and then they can reconnect in Kentucky just south of the I-275 loop there.
But now avoiding backups on 275 is also becoming a challenge after the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet announced weight restrictions and temporary lane closures on the Carol Cropper Memorial Bridge. This comes after a recent inspection found deterioration to the steel.
That's one way to make sure that the maximum possible loading is not placed on the bridge, and therefore give them time to get in there and do a full inspection and do full repairs for those areas that they found that aren't as strong as they should be.
Tracy Mitchell is a licensed engineer with the American Structural Group. KYTC says repairs are set to begin in January. Mitchell says repairs like this could take months and could lead to them finding more deterioration.
The composition of structural steel, it has a lot of iron, a lot of carbon. It has very, very small trace amounts of other alloys that they add in for different properties. When it comes to being exposed to the weather environments like that, if it's not properly protected and maintained, it's a short amount of time where the iron in the steel will combine with the oxygen and form what we just know as rust. And rust will deteriorate and eat into the material.
Fuller says this project should not have any impact on the repairs on the Big Mac Bridge. Mitchell says the work being done there is going to make the Big Mac Bridge a stronger roadway, despite the damage.
That bridge being built perhaps 50 years ago or more, the strength of the materials that they used back then were not as high as what we're putting in now. So by coming back and replace it now, it actually should be even better and stronger than when it was built the first time. So there should be no negative implications from that at all.
Yeah, now passenger cars and commercial vehicles are still allowed to travel through the Carol Cropper Memorial Bridge. We do have a breakdown of what vehicles would be impacted by these weight restrictions on www.fox19.com. In studio, Brenda Ordonez, Fox 19 Now.